Good evening viewers and a warm welcome on Media Scan, your favorite weekend show on DD India. As always, we have a power-packed episode here with some top headlines of the week. Later in the show, we will have an interesting conversation with two special guests who will share their perspective on the top political developments of this happening week. So, let's go on with it. Before we meet my guests, what made news? Back-to-back good news on the COVID vaccine front brought cheer all over the globe. Pfizer announced that its vaccine developed with German major BioNTech had shown 95% efficacy with no major side effects. If all goes well, the vaccine may be available around Christmas, they hoped. Closer home, Delhi surge prompted the Union Home Ministry to announce a slew of measures to ramp up testing and provide adequate medical facilities. Delhi government also announced a fresh set of restrictions to reduce crowding and strict adherence to guidelines. Congress was hit by renewed attacks from within right after the disappointing Bihar results. Leader after senior leader, such as Kapil Sibal, P. Chidambaram, and others questioned the party's delusional attitude in state after state. A war of words ensued as others like Ashok Gehlot and Adhir Chaudhary called out their colleagues for raising their voice. However, there was no official word from the top leadership despite a virtual meeting of the top brass during the week. Politics is hotting up in the hills and valleys of Jammu Kashmir as the Union Territory gears up for the first District Development Council polls. Elections will begin next week and carry on till mid-December. Meanwhile, Home Minister Amit Shah's statement calling the Gupkar alliance parties as Gupkar gang triggered some sharp reactions from National Conference and PDP leadership. Shah lambasted the Gupkar partners for advocating foreign interference in the valley. Interestingly, AICC claimed they were never a part of the Gupkar alliance, while their state leaders announced that they will be fighting together. Nitish Kumar took oath for the fourth consecutive term as the NDA romped back in Bihar. Another 14 ministers also took oath with him, including two deputy chief ministers, both from the BJP. The Hindustani Awam Morcha and Vikasashil Insan Party got one cabinet berth each. Though one minister, Mewalal Chaudhary, had to resign on Thursday following an old case of corruption. A brief but headline-worthy phone call between US President-elect Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi laid out the roadmap for the future relationship of the two democracies. The leaders reiterated their commitment to advance the strategic partnership and discussed common challenges such as battling the pandemic, dealing with climate change, and enhancing defense cooperation. So that was a look at some of the top headlines capturing media space through the week. And now I have here with me a very special panel of senior journalists this evening who will share their perspective on the political developments and a couple of those issues. Let me first introduce my guests for the evening. I have with me here a very common face on Indian television, well-known anchor, columnist, analyst Abhigyan Prakash. Welcome Abhigyan to DD India and Media Scan. This is your first appearance on the show, so a warm welcome here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also have with me Aarti Tikku Singh. You have seen her earlier on Media Scan, and I'm very happy to welcome Aarti back to the show. Welcome Aarti Tikku. The Congress is imploding once again, this time over the disastrous performance in Bihar and the by-polls in 11 other states. Stalwarts like Kapil Sibal, P. Chidambaram have pointed out the delusional attitude displayed by the top leadership and that this was a recipe for the disaster. While some others like Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary questioned them for speaking out publicly. Nobody named Sonia or even Rahul Gandhi, but almost every print and TV report said the developments were a reminder of the letter written recently by 23 senior leaders on similar lines. So, will this churning lead to something substantial for the Congress this time, or is it once again a flash in the pan? We'll get on with this discussion right away, and I want to come to Abhigyan Prakash first. Mr. Prakash, you must have heard the statements of all those senior Congress leaders. Someone saying that the party is badly weakened, somebody else saying that they are not able to read the writing on the wall, while others commenting that nobody should come out with the party's internal issues publicly. Now, somewhere in between lies the problems and the turmoil in the Congress. How do you look at the whole situation?
I'll be very blunt here, and I said this, Smita, in the past as well. There is no denying now that Rahul Gandhi is not working for the Congress. Now, I'll take the name. I'm not a Congress person or from any political side. So it is very evident. Now, people are trying to put across their point of views, but there's the common psychophancy, historical of the Congress party being where one side will come and say, no, don't speak up. Oh, you should not speak up. Right? It is very clear from Kapil Sibal to Chidambaram, people have been speaking at some stage or the other. So they're also voicing their opinion publicly. There's nothing wrong about that. Just you also do it on your party forum. But the problem is that every now and then there are alliance collapses. The entire debate that Rahul Gandhi does not get along with the old guard is over. Most of the young guards are very unhappy, from Sachin Pilot to we saw what happened to Jyotiraditta Scindia, who eventually went to the BJP. So I don't know why it is such a problem. Just call the call. It is Rahul Gandhi. Just say it so bluntly. There's nothing wrong.
If I can interrupt here, Mr. Prakash, if I can interrupt for a second here, you just mentioned the issue of whether it should be a party forum or elsewhere. I just noticed that in the recent meeting called by Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, if we believe the news reports, because this is media scan, and so we are going by the media reportage. So even, I mean, this was the first such meeting soon after the Bihar debacle. But even in that meeting, I'm told that it was very muted and they were just told to give their reports to the state in charges about the elections. I mean, that was the right time to discuss threadbare, wasn't it?
Well, I totally agree with you, Smita. It's, as I said, you have to be blunt and take it head on. If you don't want to, if you want to attend some formal kind of meeting, everybody keeps quiet, keeps looking at each other, you know, who will raise the issue, let's not say anything, it might upset the Gandhis. If all this is going to continue, then the Congress will continue to suffer. It is their problem. When people are speaking up, be honest to realize where the problem is. Now, for a second, let me mention Bihar.
Yes.
Now, a young Tejasvi Yadav is himself saying that the number of seats we gave to the Congress in this alliance was our mistake. Now, let's look at a person who's an outsider, who's not from your party. You end up giving tickets to some Shatrughan Sinha's son. I mean, what does this party want to do? Where does it want to go? So it is not that it is actually losing everywhere, but its central decision making, I've been repeatedly saying, is such that it not just hurts its state decision making, it also ends up demoralizing it. And then
let me take it to Aarti from here, Mr. Prakash. Let me take it to Aarti. Aarti, even congressmen, you know, of course in softer voices, not too loudly, have been saying that they have become a drag even for small regional parties, you know. Today, even regional party leaders are calling out the Congress for being a drag on them, from compelling them to face defeat. It happened in Uttar Pradesh, now we are seeing it in Bihar. So from what Abhigyan Prakash just said, do you think the party is being just delusional, or is it that they are looking at things in a different way? I mean, why do you think they can't read the writing on the wall?
Well, Smita, one, I do agree with Abhigyan ji that it is Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi is not really working for the party. But I think it's not just Rahul. It is the entire package of politics that Rahul Gandhi brings party. And I think that's where confusion and that's where the main issue is. The fact that Rahul Gandhi's Congress party is very different from Congress party Indira Gandhi represented, for example, or Nehru represented, for example. The very idea of nationalism, we now associate with the BJP has become a taboo, has become a dirty word for the Congress. It's not in the same light as it was seen by the Indira Gandhi's Congress or by Nehru's Congress. Rahul Gandhi's problem is the fact that he is not appealing to the masses in 21st century, but his problem is so that he does not probably have the right kind of advisors, does not have the right kind of historical context in which Congress party became relevant for the party, for the country. He, in fact, they have moved far from the center where the Congress used to operate and govern just at the center, but in other states also. They have moved so far to the left that now the left and the Congress don't have many disagreements.
Mr. Prakash, Mr. Abhigyan Prakash, I want to bring you in here on this particular point because we have been observing, do you think that leaning too much on the left, somehow the Congress present leadership is not in sync with the ideological bent of the current generation? Do you think it's an ideological problem?
No, it's total confusion. It's total confusion. See, over-guided by left liberals, as Aarti rightly pointed out, over-guided by left liberals without understanding your own key core position is going to keep adding to your confusion. I reported from Amethi, you also know in the last election,
yes.
And I went there and I said it in my report that Rahul Gandhi will lose Amethi. Now, you see, when you have a situation where there is disacceptance of your politics in a particular, I've said this very bluntly, I'm again putting it across in your program. Please, I said, either you decide to give Rahul Gandhi every possible decision making in the Congress for 1 year. Don't question. Winning, losing, forget about it. Let him decide everything. But don't keep going back and forth, because what is happening is your workers are demoralized, your state leaders are demoralized, Congress doesn't even know ideological positions on certain issues. The leaders will come out, will support decisions in Article 370. So there's so much of confusion. Take a line. It could be wrong, such as Indian politics, such as politics across the globe.
So, Aarti, this two steps, one step forward and two steps
coming
back.
To the left liberal part once again. See, there've always been this element in the Congress party in the past as well. And as Aarti pointed out, from Mrs. Gandhi's period, by Mrs. Gandhi I refer to Indira Gandhi. Now, Congress took a centered position out of those advisors, including the period of Manmohan Singh,
yes.
where economically, in the global downturn period, Manmohan Singh did very well. Now, this enormous confusion now is not really leading Congress anywhere. Earlier, it took suggestions. Now, it is following them with absolutely no understanding of what next it wants to do on various national agendas. And that is what is causing the frustration of senior Congress leaders who understand where the problem lies, and to shut them up.
Let me bring in Aarti. I want a comment on Aarti because that was what I wanted to come to immediately. Aarti, this what Abhigyan Prakash has just pointed out, this one step forward and then two steps back, where do you think this is leading things? I mean, as I said, will this round of questioning within the party also remain a flash in the pan? Or do you think something might come out substantially?
Well, when we look at the overall trends across the country, it does seem that Congress is in a rapid decline mode, and I don't think they're going to recover time soon unless there is a major tectonic shift as far as leadership is concerned. But we don't see that happening. We're not clear who the leader of the political party really is, whether it's Sonia Gandhi or whether it's Rahul for Priyanka Gandhi. And all of them are leaders of the political party. India of 21st century is ready, is not willing to give another chance. I think India had enough with dynastic politics. They have had with people who are disconnected from the ground reality, people who are no scale game as far as real issues people in rural India, in sub India are concerned. I think a lot of insight that I got was in 2019 elections. People who live in areas of India, they told it was for the first time that they were having roads, electricity, water. They were getting subsidized, and they were getting subsidy for house construction and toilets. So these are the basics on which the Congress really brought together the country. But instead of doing that, they have remained focused on the politics of and caste identity. They've been
Right, point taken. Aarti, I'd like to move on to the next subject from here. Clearly, both our guests agree that there is a lot that needs to be done for the Congress on its leadership side, as well as pass on the message to people who would like to vote for the Congress, who are supporters of the party. With that, I move on to the next subject of discussion on the table. Viewers, the LOC is on the boil. Pakistan is continuously pushing infiltrators while giving cover fire to them, and even as our security forces are giving them back in more than equal measure. But there is much heat generated on the political front as well. The first District Development Councils or DDC election will kick off next week. Mehbooba Mufti and Umar Abdullah have reacted sharply to Home Minister Amit Shah's remarks, calling them the Gupkar gang. The Home Minister was referring to statements from the two parties seeking direct or indirect intervention of neighbors like China and Pakistan in the affairs of the valley. The People's Alliance for Gupkar Declaration, or PAGD, wants restoration of Article 370. This is also their main plank in the campaign, while the BJP is focusing on regional balance and equitable development of the Union Territory. Most baffling is the Congress party's stance, which declared in Delhi that it has nothing to do with the Gupkar alliance. But the state leaders have agreed that they have district level understanding with PJD candidates. So, what do these DDC polls hold for the people of the troubled area? And can the Muftis and Abdullahs get their mojo back with the Gupkar alliance? Let's discuss. I am coming to Abhigyan Prakash again. Mr. Prakash, you have reported widely in the valley in those turbulent days and in the current circumstances. Do you think the members or the signatories of the PAGD who are now contesting the DDC polls, will this give them a chance to get back the trust of the people which they seem to have lost in the past 1 year? Do you think it's an opportunity for them?
Very good word you've used. In fact, I would have used this word. I compliment you, Smita. Trust. There is a trust issue. Let's very clearly understand. One is the politics of the valley, and the other is politics of the region, which is the Jammu region, as we all know now, for
Correct.
decades. Both the Abdullahs and the Muftis have to win back the trust of the people, and this will be a very crucial test for it. I don't know about whatever names are being given right now, but when I talk about these two particular families of the valley politics for decades and decades and decades now, one has to understand that there's a section of people who also feel, and I'll be very straightforward, saying that they've indulged in corruption and they've indulged in also, in a way, that's been the perception, we all know it's been written about, debated, that they've helped themselves more than they've helped the people of the valley. Now, local elections are also a benchmark, a test ride, if I may say, of where you actually stand on the road. So
Yes.
this is very crucial. There is no doubt about
And
that.
these
This is
DDC
very
polls,
crucial.
these DDC polls are as local as it can get,
Yeah. Yeah. So see, please understand where do we stand on Jammu and Kashmir right now. There is a process of, the political process has been guaranteed by the government and of course by the Prime Minister. Now, this is the first step to the political process, right? And of course, as we build on and, the future of Jammu and Kashmir, we look at from our perspective, which is our country. So this is very important. I would want to see how do they actually locally do, how people still feel that they are the politicians who can be trusted in the valley politics. So that will be very interesting to see. I don't know much about the Gupkar.
Okay, I'll ask
gang and all
Aarti
these
on
things.
that because she has been reporting and writing prolifically on the events in that area. Aarti, I'm coming to you on this. Do you think the Gupkar alliance is starting on the right foot by, campaigning for restoration of 370? We know how aggressive the BJP is on that subject. We just heard the Home Minister.
Smita, it is clear from the number of developments that have taken place in the last couple of months in Kashmir that this Gupkar alliance essentially looking at a certain constituency which is strongly a constituency that Saeed Ali Shani represented or Hurriyat represented. They're not looking at the constituency they used to represent at one point of time.
Okay.
Because that constituency is today disillusioned. They do not trust them at all. That is why there was no protest when all of them were detained last year after 370 and IA were nullified. So the people are now really looking constituency which is sympathetic to Pakistan.
I want to interrupt you here, Aarti, on this. Allow me to interrupt you here, Aarti, on this constituency that you are hinting at. Had this constituency really mattered or had it been so important, why would the Muftis and Abdullahs have felt so isolated during all this entire one-year period? We really didn't see much support coming out for them, did we?
Yeah, well, this question, Smita, you're right that really relevant to Kashmir politics. Well, the thing is, this is the constituency that has control of violence in Kashmir.
Yes.
These are who can mobilize, who can mobilize stone pelters to come to the streets. These are also the people who have a deal with Pakistan, with ISI, with groups in Kashmir. So if the Gupkar alliance wants bring them on board or get their votes, they have to have some kind of blessing from them. And
what about the Congress? How do you look at the positioning of the Congress? We really don't know where they are on this.
Well, you see, the problem is that it's got trapped in its own identity politics. In the rest of it, it has projected itself as a champion of the rights of religious minorities, caste minorities, and other minorities. Therefore, in Kashmir, though it's a Muslim state, they are trapped because they want, they have this image that they are speaking Muslims of India. So now they are, in a way, pressurized or trying to build that bridge with Muslim leadership in Kashmir, because Muslim leadership in Kashmir has had a very complicated stand in Kashmir. They have been asking for restoration 70, knowing that it is not possible for government to bring it back. It was the Parliament of India approved it. It was the Parliament that passed in the Parliament last year.
Right.
So they know that this is not full. They are definitely still pandering to the extremist constituency. I think It's may win them seats, but I also it will not win them trust of people who really matter.
I'll come back to Abhigyan on that, because I want a comment from Abhigyan also on that. Abhigyan Prakash, we know where the BJP stands. We also know fairly clearly where the PAGD or the Gupkar alliance stands. Where do you think the Congress stands in this whole picture? We have seen statements, contradictory statements from their leadership here and in Srinagar and Jammu.
No, it's very clear. As I said, Smita, be it Maharashtra or Kashmir, C for Congress, C for confusion right now. Because, see, what is Congress trying to figure out? Congress doesn't know whether it can directly and aggressively step into this politics. So it is trying to be there and yet not be there and see how the other alliances really work for. So that is the problem. I'm saying it is not about winning and losing. In politics, nobody ever, I can tell you for a fact, I never wrote off the BJP. I've seen the decline of BJP.
Yes.
Similarly, I'll never write off the Congress. So the problem is Congress has lost so much of its own conviction that it doesn't even know in these situations which way to go. As Aarti rightly pointed out, this will be a test of trust. So I also said the same. Maybe, I don't know, I have no idea. Maybe this could open some door, maybe even for the BJP. I have no idea. So
Okay,
it's a
so,
question of what
allow
is the
me to-
relationship the people of the valley are going to have with the political players in Delhi.
Yes, Aarti, quick comment please, because I'm being asked to wind up. I am afraid I'm running out of time. You wanted to add something, Aarti?
I want to make a quick comment. The fact that, it was Nehru and it was Indira Gandhi who eroded or who hollowed out the parts of Article 370. Their position on Article 370 was clear in 1970 when Indira Gandhi and Sheikh Abdullah Accord happened. Indira Gandhi rejected autonomy of Article 370.
Yes.
That was the of the Congress. But today, Congress is with Gupkar alliance, which is asking for the restoration of Article 370. So, as Abhigyan said, they are completely confused. They have no historical understanding and context of their political party today.
So that is one point on which both my panelists here completely agree. We know that P. Chidambaram wants a restoration of 370, but the party official briefing completely stayed away from that comment and in fact distanced itself. So as Abhigyan Prakash just said, the Congress seems to be now, the C in the Congress stands for confusion. And if there was any time or any week when this confusion came out most palpably, it was this week that we are just ending. On that point, I am afraid I have completely run out of time. And I must thank profusely both my guests here. Abhigyan Prakash, Aarti Tikku, thank you very much for joining this such an interesting and enlightening discussion. I hope to have both of you back on my show one of these weekends. Thank you once again. And viewers, with that, I wind up this weekend's show of Media Scan. Please continue to watch DD India while we continue to scan the media for you. On that note, good night.